Let's go now to the Sun columnist, page 10. Great article by Ross Clark this morning. Britain is being dragged into a socialist future it never asked for. Good morning, Ross. How are you?
Good morning, Jeremy. Fine.
It's interesting. Just to the next side of your article, it says, Sir Keir Starmer may have won the battle to stay in Downing Street for now, but at what price for the rest of us? It says that Labour has already strayed a very long way from the PM's election promise to govern from the centre ground and tread more lightly on the lives of hard-working Brits. And the future, if he goes, well, not if, when he goes, is even worse, isn't it, Ross?
It is indeed. And when we voted, or when the country voted Labour, not very enthusiastically, on 34% of the vote, but when the country voted Labour in 2024, it was in the belief, in many cases, I think, that this was going to be a sort of Blairite, another Blairite government, which wasn't going to, well, for all its faults, the Blair government didn't tax us to extinction, it didn't frighten businesses, it allowed economic growth, it didn't punish aspiration. But, having gained power, then, the nature of the government began to change almost immediately, but nothing like what it is going to from now on, because Starmer may have survived in office for now, but he is the prisoner of his backbenchers. And these are the backbenchers who get more left-wing by the day, who wouldn't allow him to reform, even to chop £5 billion from the welfare bill. They've sort of blocked everything, demanding wealth taxes, and so on, pretending that borrowing doesn't matter. We can just carry on borrowing like nobody's business. And honestly, you just see how the markets behaved on Monday when it looked as if Starmer was going to be forced to resign. Bond yields have leapt. I think the markets are beginning to realise that, what follows Starmer would be, far worse than a sort of Liz Truss mini budget. It would completely lose all control of the public finances. We've already paying over £100 billion a year in debt interest, and we've got a government which looks as if it could now be taking the spending, the all limits off the spending taps, letting them run, and I
haven't actually said this yet. I agree with everything you said. I haven't actually said this because it's only just come into my mind, but I do genuinely believe this. Starmer is awful. And I don't actually go with I go with the facts that it would be worse. Two things I want to say. First is that anybody who has got any idea of political history must have realised that the Socialist Party, whenever they're in power, however they dress it up, we end up skint. That's it. They either print money or give their union mates money so that interest rates go through the roof. It always ends up that way. He will undoubtedly lurch to the left because he's trying to save his skin. He can't save his skin. And what you will get, as you quite rightly say, is either a Miliband, which is frightening, isn't it? Or Rayner, which is frightening, isn't it? The only reason I've got hope, Ross, is for the very reason of what you just said. The markets collapsed in with Truss. An election was forged, and I think that if he is ousted and there is mad left-wing madness in this world, in this country, I think the markets will spook again, and that might well be the time and the reason that we get an early general election. I've thought that for quite a while, to be fair.
Yeah, well, the trouble is we didn't get an election straight after Liz Truss, of course. We had,
good point.
She fell, but we had Rishi Sunak, and the Tories remained in power for the best part of 2 years. In Labour's case, they've got this massive majority, 160, 170 majority. Now, that is not going to whittle away any time soon. Yeah. So there is no sort of mechanism by which we could, we could be deep in a national crisis, but there's no mechanism which is going to force an early election unless the majority of Labour MPs, rebelled against their own party. But,
why would you do that if it ends your job 3 years early?
Yeah, well, exactly. And they know they're going to be out of a job come the next election. They're not going to be the turkeys voting for Christmas, are they?
No. Listen, it's a great article. We love having you on. Britain is being dragged into a... But I should ask you, actually, two things. Who do you think will succeed him, in your knowledge?
Well, I mean, the one that seems to be most likely at the moment is Angela Rayner. But I think when it comes to it, that I mean, even Labour members will surely balk at the idea of appointing a Labour leader and prime minister who's, just resigned in disgrace about 6 months ago, less than 6 months ago. And I think, the manner of her resignation with her little stamp duty difficulty, it is so similar, isn't it, to Mandelson's first resignation back in 1998 over the dodgy mortgage application. I think, the party will balk probably,
I
and
don't think they will.
may
I
well
think
end
the
up with
union.
Miliband.
I think the unions will love the fact that the poster girl of the unions has a chance, and you can imagine. Can you imagine at a European convention with a bottle of Leafrow milk and a vape? It'll be brilliant, won't it? We love having you on. We love your article, Ross King, page 10 today of The Sun. PM may be bad, but Clark, but worse still to come. Britain is being dragged into a socialist future it never asked for. Sorry to Ross Clark. Ross King's the entertainment person on ITV. I'm just like the old times.